Good morning, everyone. This is Michael. We're, I don't know, a few minutes away. Thanks for tuning in. Ask that everybody mute their mics, and at 10 o'clock, we'll get started. Good morning, everyone. This is Michael. We're about 5 minutes away. As you can see, Sam's getting ready, and I'd like to thank you all for joining us, and we'll be back with you shortly. Good morning, everyone. This is Michael Cott. I'm the chairman of the Professional Development Committee, and this is our first of a three-part series on pivot tables. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. Um, if you were at the Allerton meeting last fall, Sam gave a short demo of pivot tables and how Moraine Valley is using them. And we were all just blown away. And so we coerced Sam into becoming part of this committee and immediately set him to work to become, to set up this web series. So I'd just like to thank you all for being here. Tell you that the Professional Development Committee is still always looking for members. And with that being said, I will turn it over to Sam, but I would ask that everybody else mute their mics at this point. And if you have questions, you can type them or there'll be time at the end. All right, Sam, take it away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sam Zuber. I'm the Electronic Resources Coordinator at Moraine Valley Community College Library. Today's discussion, we're going to talk about pivot tables. A little overview of what we're going to talk about today is that I'm going to give you a brief story of how this all came to be. We're going to go over tables, pivot tables. I'm going to do some sample scenarios to kind of reinforce concepts. Then we got to review what we did, and hopefully we'll have some time for questions at the end. To use pivot tables, you actually need Microsoft Excel 1997 or higher, so hopefully you've upgraded since then. For the demo, we're using Microsoft Excel 2016 Enterprise. That's what my college uses, and below is my contact info. If you have any questions, I guess afterwards, or you may have something to ask later. So yeah, let's begin. So a little overview of how this came to be was that Tara, my supervisor, my boss, she came to me with um, a project to create benchmarking data to compare our data with other colleges' data. And my first instinct was to create a database using a SQL. And that idea was shot down because no one in the library besides me and the systems librarian knows how to use it. The second option was using Microsoft Access. That also has database features, but again, it's not really usable. Um, it's not very accessible to other people. They're just steep learning curve to learn it. So the third option was Microsoft Excel, and you're able. Microsoft Excel has database features, which is really useful, and a lot of people already know how to use Microsoft Excel for just like standard data entry. They don't know about the database features that come with it. So with this webinar series, it's my hope that I can show you how to get to that place, to that database place. And to get there, we need to start with tables and pivot tables. Let's start. Okay. And so this is a sample data set. I kind of made it up, but I want to keep it simple, so these concepts are real easy to grasp. So this is like a sample circulation. So I have the date for months right over here. And people circulate AV, books, cardigans, cats, and ebooks. So if data is set up like this, we call this a range. In order to make it not a range, we need to insert a table. And there's two ways you can do this. One is format as table, which gives you options of colors to do it. So I'm going to do that. And since my table has headers, so these are headers: date, AV, books, cardigans, cats, ebooks. I'm gonna press OK. And that's a table. Another option is actually to go to Insert Table uh, from the Insert tab. And again, my table has headers. These are my headers. I'm gonna press OK. With a table, you're able to filter your data. So you see these little arrow signs over here? That allows you to filter your data from the date field, or like from smallest to largest, or to like largest to smallest, and see how the data changes based off this field. And you can sort by by the data as well. So like that. So any number that has three cardigans or three cardigans in this field is filtered. So I'm gonna select all and make it like normal again. Um, so that's kind of like filtering. So another good feature with uh, tables is that you can name them. This is gonna be important later on. So I'm gonna name this circulation. So I'm able to name my table in the design tab. So if I click all of it, the design tab doesn't show up anymore. But if I click on my table, you see that design tab show up, and we are able to give the table a name. We're going to call it circulation. Another good feature with tables is that you can add rows and columns. If you right click, you're able to insert rows, such as table column to the right, and call it whatever you want. And I'm going to call it DBs. And I'm going to make up data. Another good feature is that you can actually create formulas with tables. If you don't know this in Excel, so I'm going to create another row. Actually, by doing this, by going to Insert, Table Column to the right, and I'm going to call this Total Circulation. So my idea is that I'm going to add up all these fields in this row together. And by doing that, I'm going to say like equal whatever that field record is. So this is C2, C and 2. I'm going to do C. I'm doing a summation, C2 and H through H2. And you see how it highlights all that data? So I'm going to add that together. And automatically the table recognizes that this is a summation field, an addition field, and it adds the additional column. So from 26, all this together is 26, 45, 30, 31, 28, etc. It's pretty helpful. The other way you can do another fun feature with tables is that if you don't even like the table feature, you're able to convert it back to a range. So I'm going to delete this by right-clicking delete. So if I click on the table, I get the design tab again, and I'm going to convert back to range. now our table is back to a normal range. It doesn't have those filter things again, but the formatting is still there. So if we don't like the formatting, we can just highlight our table and we click normal over here. And our range is back to normal. So let's convert this back to a table. So the next part is actually creating a pivot table from your table. To do this, you need to go to Insert, Pivot Table. But first, before we do that, let's name our table again. If we go back to this Design tab and call it Circulation. So I'm going to insert from this table, insert a pivot table. So it recognizes the table name, circulation, and I'm going to create a new worksheet based off this table. So as you can see, this is kind of like a blank canvas. And our circulation fields are all there. So date, AV, books, cardigans, cats, ebooks, DVDs. And they're all here. But this is blank. So the beauty of the pivot table is that you're able to toggle the data however you want. And you're able to do that with these 4 columns. I guess areas, they call them areas. So for right now, we're going to focus on columns, rows, and values. So what you're going to do is drag one of your fields into one of these fields below. So I'm going to drag it date to rows. Ooh, okay. I guess when we converted back to table, it didn't recognize the date. So let me fix this real quick. One, two, 3. So I'm gonna delete this again. Yeah. So we're gonna start over. So we're gonna do insert pivot table from our circulation. Then I'm gonna drag the date into the rows field. So we can see from the date that it created a new field automatically. So if you have a date formatted data field, Excel automatically picks up that it can divide it into months or years depending on how much data that you have. So in this case, it picked up that we can divide it up by months. So month seems pretty good with our data set since it's only 1 year. So I'm going to remove this date field by clicking on it and pressing remove. And I'm going to drag another field. I'm going to do AV. And you can see all the A fields are there from the circulation. And you can drag multiple fields. And as you can see at the bottom, they're grand totals, which adds everything up automatically. So I'm gonna add a few. I'm gonna add cats. Okay. Um, Another cool feature with pivot tables is that uh, you can change the values of these tables, of these fields actually. So let's focus on AV. I'm gonna delete this field. And I'm gonna drag AV again. So as you can see, the data is the same, but say for example, I want to create I want to know percentage increase or decrease. So I'm gonna click on the pivot table. I'm gonna right click, and I'm gonna go say show values as. From there, there's all these options of what you can show your values as. So I'm gonna pick percentage increase or decrease. So that would be the percentage difference from. So my base field is the months, right? And I want to see the percentage increase from the previous month. And it gives you all these options on how you want to do it. So from January, we get a 300% increase. From March, 0%. And May, a 13% decrease, and so forth. So it's pretty helpful. Another cool feature is that you can actually change the name of field and format it however you want to. So call it just AV. Oop. Of AV. There you go. Okay. And like the table, we can format it. We can change the color of it. So like this. So whatever color you choose. Okay. So another feature is that we see this analyze tab, right? And we're able to actually name our pivot table like we did with our circulation table. We're going to do that by calling it circulation pivot. So another cool feature is that we can add fields together similarly, like we did in the guest table. We can do that by, so I'm going to actually exit out. I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to go to Analyze. It's a new tab we get with our pivot table. We can do fields, items, and sets. And that allows us to add multiple fields together. So we could do fields, items, and sets, calculated field, and we can name that field. And we're going to call it total circulation. And we can add all the fields that we want. So I'm going to click on AV, books, cardigans, cats, ebooks, DVDs. Okay, everything looks pretty good. So I'm going to press OK. and our total circulation is now a formula. And the new field is added to the pivot table. So say for example, you have new data and your pivot table is not really up to date. Another cool feature is that you can actually add your data. So I'm going to add January's data from my table. So I'm going to do 1/1/2020, and I'm going to assume this is the entire circulation data for January. So 5, 6, 4, 3, 2. So to update the pivot table, you go back to Analyze, and you press Refresh. See how the data changed? So, yep, okay. Okay. So another cool feature is that you can actually create a chart based off of your pivot table. You may already know this. So could go to Remove Field, and I'm going to go Insert. Go to the Insert tab and go to Recommended Charts. So there's a variety of charts you can choose from, depending on what your needs are. And you can name it however you want to. So total circulation. For 2019 and January 2020. So okay. So that's how you do that. So delete that. So just to reinforce concepts, I brought some sample scenarios that can help you better understand pivot table. So the first one is I'm going to copy this. Let's see. I'll paste it here so we can use that as reference. Yeah. So for example, so Boss Leroy wants a total chart total of circulation that have months of more than 20 circs. Okay, so to do this, we have our already total circulation, but how do we make it only more months that have more than 20 circs? So another cool feature is that you can filter. So I'm going to do filter. I'm going to click on the pivot table. I'm going to do filter, And I'm going to go to value filters. So I want total circulations is greater than 20. And now you see our pivot table change that only has value filters greater than 20. There you go. Okay, so let's try another one. So Boss Leroy wants a chart of a total circulation that have months. Oh, I already did that one. Oop. Oop.
Yeah. A binder.
So, I am messed up on the bedrooms. I don't know what to do. That is my rough sketch.
So you're
Not very organized. This is the vibe we're
I
going.
gotta make this bigger text.
Love it.
But yet it's gonna be on an angle.
Okay. On the lot or
No, like the actual, like the garage will be,
got it. Okay.
but it will not.
I'm gonna jump in just a second, Sam. Leslie, can you mute your mic? We can hear the conversation.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Well, I don't know if it will look exactly like, we're not gonna do an all metal roof. I want metal roof accent.
Yeah.
And, I love the porch, and I'm sure the windows will look slightly different, but I am warming to the idea of like farmhouse four square kind of window.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Sam.
All right.
Windows, which I don't even
Hopefully you can read that. I can't.
windows are up in the air.
So basically, it says your coworker Larry wants a PDF showing how many cats were circulated in the months of January and
Just at the very
February.
bottom.
Yes.
Kind of just like that. I
So
don't know what to do for columns.
we're gonna
Look there.
remove this field
Like just white with maybe a little brick
and we
black,
click on cats. So from cats, we can filter again.
This looks perfect as
I mean,
is.
I know, okay, like I would take that any day, but
Yeah.
So
Like the contrasting beams.
So we have the cats field. Now we're going to filter by months. So we can see January and February are right there. So we're going to click on this.
I'm a little soft.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now we have a chart.
On first glance, I would have said yes, black, but it's not exactly.
Pardon me. Okay, so we have January and February for
maybe
cats and yeah. So now we want to create a PDF. So we can do better than this. We can create a chart too. So
Well,
I'm
absolutely.
going to do
absolutely.
recommended
That's how
charts.
Yeah.
That's how I even felt about that. Okay, so here's our porch.
And I can call it cats.
Walk in.
I had to ditch the central fireplace. I don't think, because our builder was like, if you do that, like we're gonna have to build it up in the basement because of the weight of it. And Matt's like, I want an open basement.
Okay. So, and now Larry wants a PDF.
I hope so.
I'm
So-
sure so many different cool.
We can save it.
Like, would you
So we're going to do File, Save As.
I like both looks where it's like a wall of windows and then the fireplace, but I also really want a wood grain fireplace.
Yeah.
And I feel like
Ooh.
Yeah.
PDF.
Where would you put your TV? Above the fireplace?
And we can press save.
Me- I'm not really, but I just was.
Yeah, and if it's a wood burning, I don't think you
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, in some ways, if I'm not trying to like.
So there's our chart.
In terms of practicality, it would be nice having a
Yeah,
TV here.
yeah.
View it from the kitchen
Right.
at times if you want,
Right.
whether with kids or you or whatever.
Yeah. So it is very open,
Yeah.
which is, you know,
But
the original was not quite so open.
but still, yes and no. I
Right.
mean, you know, like it's not as though
Leslie.
you know it's going
Right.
back further.
Yeah.
So you know, there's
And there will
some
be
Okay, so we're gonna do the last scenario.
appearance is like
So
their island and so
Trustee Crystal wants circ data.
yeah.
which is kind of what I'm going
Wants circ data for the year plus January and February 2020 and see percentage increase and decrease from month to month.
Think pantry.
That's all really wonky, I assume. That's really
So I'm gonna try and copy this.
like the proportions I'm sure are way wrong. But this is the general.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna delete all this stuff. I'm gonna delete my chart.
I like that. You know, and again, it's not all super open, you know, because that's kind of tucked in a little
Yeah,
bit, and
yeah.
that's tucked in a
Yeah,
little
like
bit.
I'd like that to be a wall. Like I want the stairs kind of open to the foyer area, not the
Dining room. Sure. Okay. And then
There you go.
storage walk-in.
Just like a big wall. Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, I think it.
Why not?
Right. Exactly. Well, and
You know, kind of as you're going out the door.
Okay, so Trustee Crystal wants circ data for the
Right,
year
all that
plus
stuff-
January
stuff that
and
you don't
February
have, there's
2020
so
and
much
see
like-
percentage increase
Right,
decrease
and it
from
just
month to month.
It's like even if you can't figure out what exactly you put in there,
Yeah,
you will fill it up.
right.
Laundry room.
So
I don't know how big exactly it will be.
But still, just
So
like
let's
a
modify
folding
our table.
enclosed, but it
Right.
have some shelving or
Yes.
whatever.
increase. So we already have January. Let's include February.
Or
We're
more
gonna make
like
up that data.
grocery.
Well, I'm would like it to be like a counter
Okay.
with like kind of like a mini desk area for the
Okay.
kitchen.
Okay. Yeah.
Counter height.
So we have our data. Now we're gonna refresh our pivot table.
No, I think that's great as well. Well, yeah, I think it's smart.
And
because
now we're
it's
gonna
kind of
include
a
all of
kid
our
drop-off,
dates.
You know, but I
Yeah.
still think
We
like,
can select
you're
all.
coming in with groceries.
Yes.
I think it's nice.
Definitely.
I think you'll either end up creating one,
Right.
or and either taking over something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's nice to come
Oh.
in. I love that idea of kind of like mudroom-esque, kind of whatever.
Okay.
And then
So
what's this?
That is.
and now she wants to see,
Stairs to the basement.
and we want total circulation. So I'm gonna delete, unclick. I'm gonna delete this field, remove this field. Total circulation. January and February. It's not very clear. So where is our other data? So when this happens, I usually delete my pivot table and start over because perhaps if we click on the date field again, the years field might show up as well. So I'm going to start over. I'm going to delete. You do insert pivot table. So I'm going to click on date again. And you know what? The years field finally showed up. And that's what we want. And quarters also showed up as well. So I'm going to remove quarters, remove date, and I'm going to include total circulation. which we don't have because I deleted the pivot table. But that's no worries. We can do it again. So we can do, there you go. Where is it? Okay. Go to fields, items, and sets. Go to calculated field. So we're going to call this again total circulation. And we're going to add all the fields together. And I'm going to include the date field as well. So as you can see, I put multiple fields in these rows. And now I've included months in my years. That's another cool feature about pivot tables is that you can group multiple data sets together. So she also wants to know percentage increase and decrease. So I'm going to take this field and put a side by side by the total circulation field. So I'm going to drag this to total circulation. Now it's the same data, but we want to see this as a percentage. So again, we're going to do show, we're going to click on that pivot table. We're going to click show values as. We're going to say percent difference from. So we can do date as our base field. And we can say previous to see the amount of increase or decrease from year to year. So total circulation increased 45%, or started 73%, decreased 33%, and so forth. And it looks like we have what Crystal wants. Yeah, so another thing we can do is, of course, include a chart. So whatever fields you choose to put in your pivot table what winds up in your chart. So say, for example, Crystal doesn't want that anymore, doesn't want the percentage increase, decrease. We can remove it from our chart by clicking on that field and pressing remove field. And you see, as the pivot table changed, so did the chart. So depending on what you want. Okay. So we could do a little review. Those are the sample scenarios. Okay, new share. So a little review. We learned about creating a table, learned a little bit about tables, pivot tables, you know, how to create one, how Excel automatically creates dates from your existing dates from if you put it in a pivot table, naming your pivot table, being able to show your values as something, being able to filter fields, items, and sets and formulas, how to use the refresh feature, which updates your data if you update your original table, and creating charts in both tables and pivot tables. I guess that's the majority. That is the presentation. Hope you learned something. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Does anybody have any questions? I mean, I've used pivot tables very minimally, but I just learned a lot. if there, let's see. Yep, nope. Just looking at the comments, Sam, they're coming in, you know, they're excited. Thanks, Sam. Great job, Sam. Okay, this is being recorded, so once it's been processed, we'll send out a link. And oh, I didn't write down the dates. Sam, do you have the dates for the next section? Oh yes, February the 28th will be part 2 at 10 a.m. And then on April the 3rd will be part 3 of Sam's pivot table webinar series. All right, guys, if there are no questions, thank you so much for tuning in, and tune in next month. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, bye-bye.